Morning, everybody. Just fixing a few things here. Okay. Morning, everybody. We are back for episode 17 of Prisma Arena. Untold Adventures Await in Prisma Arena. My head's a little bit all over the place today. We had some tragic news recently, and we're just kind of sorting out funeral arrangements and things like that. So I will probably be starting a little late tomorrow. But for today, we are going to play on. So I've got, as promised, I said in this episode, I was going to try a different set of story cubes. So I do have with me my lovely collector's box of Rory story cubes, in which we have lots of different sets here. I can see all the different themes up here. So you can see the different theme sets up along here as well. So I said I would mix in a different set, and I was kind of thinking of including a mix of Fright or Strange maybe into the set. So we've got, so this is Primal, which mixes Prehistoria, Animalia, and Explore. So this one here. We've got, this one could be interesting actually, which is Medic, Rescue, and Disaster. Fantasia, which has got Enchanted, Mythic, and Medieval. This is the kind of original Voyages set, so I actually have a few. So I love this set. I am going to drop some of these back in, the ones that I have taken out. And yeah, Actions, Astro, which is a mix of Intergalactic, Rampage, and Atomic. And then we have Heroes, which has a mix of Score, Powers, and Arcade. And again, I had one from that I was using. So one or two, I'm going to take them out. And then I had Mystery, so I already had one set out from that. So I think I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to do 3 random ones from this set. And I think 3 random ones from Voyages, because I like it so much. Nearly tempted to go a full 6 to that. So let me see. So already have that one there. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. I'm going to switch this camera to, I think to Dice Tray should do it. So I am going to include, let's see, I'm just going to randomly draw them out of my hand. So I've got one here. Okay, so we've got this one. We've got this one, which is from Clues. And so I am not looking at them. Right, and I've got, this is going to be interesting. So I've got this one, which is from Fright. Wasn't really expecting that. Okay, so I think I'm going to take... So I'm going to take 3 from the original set. So I've got this one again. I've got this one. One last one. So I've got this one again. Okay, it's going to make me work hard, I can tell you that. Okay, so then from Voyages, I'm going to take 3. So just so that I am shaking them up. So I'm going to pick one. So it's this one here from Voyage. Interesting. I've got this set. Backpack field trip. And one more. I'm going to go for this one here, which is the kind of map and the what. Yeah, so we had this, I think, in some of the earlier episodes. Okay, so I'm doing this for you, Niels. Okay, let's see how we get on. So I'm just going to put that out of the way there. We've got our heroes. So we've got our heroes, we've got our dice, and I think we are ready to, let me see, start playing. Oh, I'm going to angle that back around, actually. There, so I think we're ready to kind of jump in. The last episode, again, ended with the two Bobo students being suspended from the academy, and them kind of threatening revenge on our heroes. So I'm just going to leave them there. I do have my notebook here in case I need to access anything. So I think we are going to jump in and see where this episode takes us. Again, if you've any comments or anything, please do ask them. It's kind of great to get questions from people because it gives my brain a pause to kind of work things through. And yeah, if you want to spend me help me spend an idea token or flashback token, do suggest things as well. Okay, so we're gonna switch back to top-down view with our dice tray, I think. And we are going to jump in. I'm going to reveal the first tile, which is a dangerous dilemma. So the episode opens where someone or something is being pursued. So I'm trying different things here where it's not always the case that the heroes are directly involved, that, you know, sometimes they might be here about something as well. So does it feel like 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this icon immediately kind of speaks to me, kind of this kind of mystery. I think this to me is like a kind of pressure gauge or something. So I think the episode opens in, I think, kind of downstairs in kind of underground in the kind of basement, you know, one of the subterranean levels of the academy, where the kind of power generators are housed. And there's like there's kind of like a mix of steam. There's kind of like glows from various Prisma shards that are being used to kind of, you know, generate power for the arena. And we see so I'm looking here for something that fits. I think I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it. So this kind of grabs my attention, this icon here, and I think it is a kind of mist-like someone or something that's able to take on this kind of mist form is pursuing someone or something. So I think of them as kind of almost like they coalesce, I guess. So we see this kind of steam coalescing and taking form into this kind of roughly humanoid form, I think. And we see that it's kind of sneaking up on someone or something. So so who is it attacking? So who are they sneaking up on? Dun, 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 opening mystery. So I think it opens on, which is kind of weird, because I want to create this kind of like, This is rolled a couple of times and I've ignored it. So I think, because I don't know why, yeah. So I think it is, it's, okay, I'm going to say it's one of the elders who we thought had all been captured. It is one of the elders from the Council of Hope who is being chased. Now, because they're elder doesn't necessarily mean they're old, but they're one of the members of the Council of Hope. And their name is, so I try to give people a name. So I don't know what the myth character is, but this person is I think Urana. And they're on the Council of Hope. Yeah, so she's on the Council of Hope. And so she's being chased. We see her being kind of, she's fleeing down to this kind of subterranean level, and she's being chased by this kind of mist creature that's kind of like dissolving and appearing in front of them. And I think so. We kind of need to get sucked into this in some way. So they're being chased, and I think I'm going to ask, well, how do we Yeah, so I think I'm going to try something different. I've never done this before, and I could go horribly wrong, but I'm going to... How does that work? So how do we figure it? I think we get alerted to the fact when their unconscious body is discovered. Yeah, so I think their unconscious body is discovered down in the kind of generator room of the academy. And basically an alert kind of goes out that that the Academy is on lockdown now. So I think we so I think what's happened is they've discovered this on camera, like after the fact, that there was this wisp figure, and when they check back over the footage, they see that this mist figure had been there. So I'm gonna see, I think we're gonna go and investigate and see, can we, I think I'm gonna go and investigate, and so I think we're gonna kind of sneak in and see if we can spot anything kind of out of sorts. I'm just thinking about our character abilities, like what we might know. Oh, I'm turning my camera a little bit here. If there's anything we might know. So, so I think I'm going to try something. I think Eleanor has that kind of focusing torque. So I think she's going to kind of focus and summon her Mocon of curiosity to see if she can spot anything out of sorts. So it's like she's thinking, and her Mocon is kind of like running around, kind of checking different things and seeing what's going on. Okay, so she finds something. Okay, and it is, I think the news kind of, I think, surprises and shocks everybody. So what is the thing that she discovers? So I'm going to use that to myself a free roll, I think. So she discovers something that the others don't know. She discovers something that's kind of really surprising. I'm just waiting for my brain to kick in so I can answer this question. She discovers something really surprising, and that is kind of shocking as well. So I kind of want to say, actually, that yeah, that clown's kind of laughing at me. I'm trying to figure out. I don't think it's going to feature just yet. So I think they discovered that this mist creature has actually left no kind of visible trace. So, you know, normally they, in this world, are pretty good at picking up kind of like signals of some kind. And there's maybe no sense of maybe there's no trace of any kind of prisma within this being or this creature, which is really curious then about how it would have got in. And yeah, and that's how it was able to kind of elude detection on its way in. So actually, hang on. Just for nails, I'm going to rewind this a little bit, and I think no, I'm going to stick to what I have. I'll do that later. So this creature has left like no trace whatsoever of, and somehow it was a late, there's no kind of trace of Prisma within it, which most people in Solace have some hint of it, even if they've been overcome by despair. There's always like an ounce of Prisma within them. And if they don't, if they're so far gone, that's just as worrying. So this is a real concern. There's no sense of despair associated with it, but there's no sense of Prisma either, which is kind of weird. So I think there's kind of like rumors of ghosts going around, or like something strange going on here. So I think we'll check and see if I think we go and visit Nirana and see if they're awake and try and get access. So we're going to try and get access to talk to them. And I think Jishan is going to use his kind of stealth to kind of like wander in to where they're resting unnoticed. So should have sent my first one, so my second one. I gotta keep track. Okay, so they failed to get in. And I think Omax is actually on the door as a guardian and is protecting them. And they're saying, what have I told you about getting involved, sticking your head in where it's not wanted? So they are told, they're warned to stay away by Omax. It's none of their business. And yeah, if he catches them, he's gonna have them suspended. Ooh, so we're not gonna get information out of them. I think so Nirana is resting up. This creature has so we're gonna have to notice anything. So we don't notice that they've taken anything. They've left no trace of anything actually. And unless we talk to Nirana, we're not going to get any idea of what's going on. So I think we're going to go to our friend Nadalia, I think, and see if Nadalia has heard anything. So she has. Okay. So we're going to ask Nadalia, what has she heard about what happened? Okay, so I think it's, she says, it's a very tight kept secret, so we're very persuasive, but she said it's very tight lipped secret that Nirana actually managed to escape from, sorry, I'm going to hold this up here, managed to escape from the ship before it took off with the Bringers when it captured the council. And so Nirana's been in hiding, but we're kind of keeping it quiet to prevent another attack. We wanted the Bringers to think that they had that she was dead or missing. So Nirana managed to escape, and I think knows where the council are being kept. I'm going to keep it simple. So she knows where the council are being kept. And yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm going to push it a little bit forward, but she's the only one. She was able to get the access codes, and she's the only one who knows them. to get access to where they're being kept. So this creature was trying to take them out. So there's no hint of the creature. I think. So I think I'm going to ask Nadalia, like, what's the plan then? What are you going to do? So I'm not taking much action on this, I don't think. Okay, I think. So no, Niels. When you're rolling the dice, it usually recommends you use 1, 2, or 3. So I'm actually using more than you would normally do when rolling it, because it's like, to me, it's with one die on its own, it's hard, but when you kind of join them together, it sparks new ideas and kind of makes it interesting. So the minimum would be 1. The maximum kind of is meant to be 3, but hey, I'm not going to let anything get in the way of me having a good story. So I think the plan is there is going to be a kind of so I'm mixing together a couple of things. So there's 2 plans. There's going to be an attempt to transmit the codes and get them to the council who are being held. And at the same time, the Prisma Guardians are going to conduct a night raid. So let's see, moving for night. Let's do it this way, actually, where the monks of the Shrine of Tnal, just to bring them back in, are going to work with the Guardians and carry out a raid. So I'm going to use this as a kind of a raid to cause a distraction whilst and extract the council. Okay. Well, I think we're going to argue and say that we should be part of this. I'm going to see. So I think so I'm going to try something. I think that Vical, our hero here, actually, so I can use them here and we can see them all. Yay, down the bottom of the screen. So I think he can spend an idea token, and Vical says, that place you speak of is when I access my memories, that place is familiar to me. I've been there. Maybe I could be of some assistance. And the others all just turn to Vehicle and are like, what? And then they turn back to Nadalia and say, they have to bring us. So I think they rush back to Omax and say, Omax, I know you told us not to get involved, but you need to hear this. And they explain and try to convince Omax to let them join them on their mission, because Vehicle has this extra information about the layout of the this location where they're planning the raid and where the council are being kept. So he says no, but I think this is no. So they don't get it. But I think Nadalia. So I think Nadalia steps up to our defense. So she gets angered and said, actually, I think some of the other guardians who are there turn to Omax and say, like, what are you talking about? We have these, the potential for these plans. It could make our life so much easier. Yes, I know they're just novices, but we can protect them while we're there. And so I think we plead a little bit more with them to see if they will take us. And I think he finally relents and says, okay, you can join us. So we're all excited. We're going to get to go on this mission with them. And yeah, Neil's out. I would hum this music if I didn't think I was going to basically massacre it. Yeah, I won't be singing any Indiana Jones music today. So the plot thickens, and we discover they have a terrible secret. Okay. So they have a terrible secret. So Narana has a terrible secret, and in this case, the implication is they're kind of like, I guess, confessing it, or it's something they've been trying to keep hidden. So I'm looking at the cubes. Excuse me, and I'm going to switch to, I think, the full dice tray. So these are cubes here. So I think the terrible secret is that okay. I think the terrible secret is that Narana, in order to get their freedom, had to appear to betray kind of the bringers of hope. So yes, Neil, that's a ray. That can be seen as a ray gun. So they had to appear to betray the Guardians, and so yeah, so I'm going to use that. They shot one of the Guardian, or one of the Council, and left them for dead, and they don't know if they're dead or not. And so they're kind of worried about the implications of this. Yeah, so I think so they can only hope that we basically do this on time before. Let me see. Do I want that? I kind of have a different. I think they had to betray. I'm going to take that back. I think they had to betray the location. They had to betray the Guardians, and so they are planning. So I think they had to pretend to be a spy. They've been kind of spying on behalf of the bringers, and they are planning a raid on Beacon shortly. Yeah, so I think I'm going to say that because I want to create a kind of time pressure. So I think the just going to shift it up there. Looking at these ones here. So I think they had to convince them that they were betraying. I'm going to put that on top. Sorry, my brain's gone a bit all over the place. So I'm going to put this in here. So they are. Yorana had to, in order to kind of get the code, she had to get on side with the bringers, and to do that, she pretended to be a spy, and they. So I'm going to ask, how did she win them over? Because I should be kind of, instead of making the stuff, I should be asking the questions. So she reveals this to Omax. Before you go, I want you to know this, that in order to get my escape and in an attempt to kind of help rescue the others, I had to betray them. And the bringers are planning a counter kind of attack on Beacon in an attempt to basically slow Hope's return, to continue to kind of spread more despair. So I've betrayed basically the people of Beacon and my fellow council members. You must act quickly before they carry out their raid. So I think we ask, how long have we got? Okay, so I think, so I'm going to fit this clown in this way. I think they're going to use and this is kind of a thing, a nod to our friends. They're going to use the Festival of Fools as their cover to infiltrate the city and kind of wreak havoc at that point. And I think their plan is to take over the academy. So they're going to take over the academy during the Festival of Fools celebration. Okay, so we don't have long. I think that's going to happen it's always a few days. So I think it's in a week's time. Because so all the city is kind of preparing for this. I think we're going to ask them, like, kind of, what more can you tell us that will help us when we get there to the location? I'm going to ask them more about the location, actually. So what can you tell us about the location, where they're being kept, and what will help us? Okay. I kind of I see the B figure, and I want to bring the Bazee back into it. So I think they're That'd be kind of ironic. I think they're being held. So I'm going to say they're being held by the Bazee, who are kind of working with. There's a group of Bazee who are working with. Well, I think they're working with Despair. Or else, no, so maybe they're not working with. I think they're being held in a kind of a catacomb, deep, kind of up in the mountains where the Bazee live. And we do have a name for that place. So let me just check. Locations. It was a mountain. In the Malassa Mountains. So I think they're being held in a kind of catacombs deep in the Malassa Mountains. And it is heavily guarded. Yeah. So somewhere in the Malassa Mountains, which is the kind of home territory of the Bazee, who've generally been kind of they've not taken one side or the other, but they're also quite angry that they are not being helped by they haven't been actively helped by the people of Beacon. In fact, they've actually worked against them, which we learned in the last episode in the conflict between the Boba and the Bazee. So much history. So I think the fear is that the Bazee have maybe been won over to Despair, and so there's a real urgency that we need to get in here and stop this. Okay. So we head okay, so I think I'm going to make my life simple. So we set out to the Bazee Mountains, I think, and in a wooded area. Oh, so I'm going to just pull this in. So in a kind of a wooded area in the mountains, as we're getting closer. So we're trying to infiltrate and do this quietly. And, Omax has kind of warned us to be really careful, not get ourselves into trouble. And I think they tell us to be kind of really careful as we kind of make our way through the forest. And essentially, Vika, so the Guardians have their kind of guidance. Vika is also kind of keeping them straight in terms of telling them, sensing where the location is. So he's kind of acting as a human, well, an Arcanobat navigator. So I do actually need to ask some questions about Vika, about how they know all this stuff. So we're it's night and we're making our way through the forest. We said there was going to be some monks from the moon shrine of Tanal are there. We've got some guardians and our 4 heroes, all kind of camouflaged and sneaking up. And I think as we're doing it, as we're kind of sneaking up, some figures burst from the forest and start blasting at the the Guardians, and we get split up, I think. And in doing so I need to see who it is. I kind of need to ask. Well, I need to define who it is who's doing it. So I think it is they're clearly followers of Despair. They have kind of markings on them, which I'm going to say, like, when you're like a zealot of Despair, they kind of tattoo themselves. So I think they have like black markings running up their arms, and kind of coming out of their eyes as well. So it's kind of like creating wisps, and they start firing, and they're kind of like black bolts. So they're channeling essentially despair to these blasters. And it hits some of the guardians. They fall. I think Omax turns to us and tells us to run, and we don't hesitate. We just like take off, and we head deeper into the forest, and we're being followed by the by these followers. So I think we are going to try and create a distraction first, I think, by kind of like blasting them back. So Vika, Eleanor, we all do it together. We're just kind of firing shots back and blasting them with Prisma, which is our hope. Okay, so I don't think we hurt them, but I think they managed to, like, we get off a shot that causes them to kind of slip and lose their footing in this like kind of really awkward way, which causes us kind of involuntary kind of burst out laughing. But then we realize the situation and we keep running. So I think we've bought ourselves a time. We haven't kind of eluded them. So that was my first action. I think so. We're being chased. I think then we are going to, what have we got? So I'm looking through the different abilities. I think. So I think. So Demona has incredible acrobatic abilities, and so I think they're going to use that to try and, I think, take out some of the followers. So I think she's going to summon kind of Donna, and together, yeah. So I think together they're going to form. They've been practicing this kind of combo. So I'm going to flip over the tile. So they've been kind of practicing this thing together. No, it's actually, sorry, I'm going to do it with Grova. So let me switch to my notes and dice. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, so this was going a bit weird earlier on, so I adjusted it. So I think Demona has this kind of tag team thing that she's going to do with Grova, who's affectionate, and in Prisma Arena, Grova's kind of ability is called Hug, where she can kind of pick someone up and kind of spin them around. So I think they've been working on this thing where Grova is going to kind of hug and spin Demona, and she's going to use that to kind of catapult herself off, like up into a branch in the tree and swing and basically kind of high kick two of the followers who are chasing after us. Okay, she does it. But I think yeah, but I think as a result, the rest of us are just standing there in awe, kind of like, once she takes out two of them, we actually lose time because we're just like, oh, where did you learn that? And so I think it gives the guards a chance to kind of gain some ground on us. And I think as a result, one of us takes a hit. And I think it will be... I think Vika is going to take the hit because they're kind of the biggest, most obvious one. So I think their ability to channel Prisma is... I'm just going to say it's weakened. Again, this is kind of just more of a narrative sense. I think maybe in... not tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll try and introduce some of those other kind of game systems that we can... where specialists can have more of an effect. So they're being chased through the forest. And Vika takes a hit like in the kind of shoulder and stumbles. I think Jasan is going to... was that our second? I think that was our second action. I think Jasan is so being chased. I think Jasan is going to kind of step back into the... I think they're going to use their axe actually, just to kind hit a tree and try and cause it to fall down, and yeah, stop their movement. Not very stealthy. Okay, but he succeeds. So I think he like channels Prisma into his axe and flings it. His kind of throwing axe. I think I'm gonna have to do where he's got like multiple ones of these, or else he's a way of getting them back. So he flings it, hits this a tree, which with the Prisma charge, it kind of explodes and causes the tree to topple over, collapsing down and blocking the follower. So I think we're able to get away. So I think we're going to try and make our way back to join up with the rest of the group. Okay, we get there, but I think they've been... their numbers have been depleted. Yeah, so I think it's not looking good for our mission. So we get back to them. It's not looking good. And I'm just going to ask, like, kind of what happened while we were away. So I think that the... so I'm going to use this. Okay, yeah. So just to show how the icons can be used. This one's for you, Neil, as well. So I think they were overly confident, and in their foolishness, so in our, I'm going to say, kind of foolishness, the followers were actually able to get the upper hand, and kind of use the benefit of the terrain on them, kind of, yeah, resulting in a lot of the guardians being taken out. So I think they are kind of proposing the call of the mission. Well, no, they can't, but they have to get them back, and they need to go on. So what do we discover? That the followers... Okay. There's a couple of interesting things. The followers have a dark agenda. And I think what they have done is, so I don't think Urana has come after us. No, we're not going to the amusement park. So I was going to say that was like their goal was to kind of lead them on a merry chase, or like a kind of a merry-go-round, and that was their goal. So their dark agenda, I think, was to capture them. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. I think that kind of makes sense because it could easily be capture some of the Guardians, I think, but I think their sole purpose was to tie them up. The other thing was, I wonder if I have an icon. So there is okay, I really want to do this, so I got to figure out how to do it because I think it'll be really interesting. I think they were after. Bear with me as I do this. I think they were after Vika and the knowledge that Vika contains. So again, Vika is our kind of Arcanobot friend who was on the Infinity Coalition ship, but we don't actually really know much about them. And I haven't kind of delved into that yet. I think I'll have to do some kind of backstory, and this might be the time to do it. So I think they were after this, and I'm gonna. And I think the way they, I think when we get back to the area where the guardians and the monks were fighting with the followers, they say, "Oh my God, you're safe," and they say that they reveal that the followers are after Vika because they had kind of heard it when they were fighting. So we, yeah, and so it's like, but why do they want Vika? And then we'll do a flashback, I think. So I think So I'm trying to think. Vika says, just look and see if there's anything better in particular. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use that one. So I'm gonna use the modified dice and do this one. And I think Vika says, I was created by the Infinity Coalition for with the intention of being used by the Spare. The plan is that they would kind of no, actually, sorry, because I did have another idea for this. They were planning to hand me over to the Spare and to the Bringers because of the knowledge that I have. And so, yeah, so why do they want them? They wanted Vika because of the knowledge they contained, that they were Vika was originally intended for the Spare. So I think when they saw Vika here, they immediately, the followers changed their plans and said, we need to get this kind of creature, this Arcano bot back. So we kind of turned to Vika and say, like, who are you really? So we kind of have the flashback. And I've been kind of wanting, I had this idea yesterday and I thought it'd be kind of fun to introduce. So I think Vika belongs to a group known as their Arcanobots, and they were originally created during a previous time of wonder. And this was an age when there was incredible kind of technological leaps, and a lot of the stuff that was created there and the means by which it was achieved is lost during the time of apathy, which is the precursor to the time of despair, which we're kind of in the middle of, hopefully towards the end of it right now. So they were these kind of essentially intelligent creatures who kind of became autonomous and essentially became their own society as well. And I think a lot of them were I think destroyed during the time of apathy and the beginnings of the time of despair. And Vika is kind of one of the few remaining, and was discovered by the Infinity Coalition. And they planned to strike a deal with the Bringers, that by handing over Vika, they were going to extract some of Vika's kind of vast knowledge, because we said they've got a lot of knowledge, and I think kind of embedded in them is, so Vika is actually quite old, looks like a teenager, or is kind of with teenagers, but is actually a lot older physically, and has lived through the time of wonder and apathy. And I think the Bringers wanted to access some of this information so they could use that in their kind of fight to basically extend the time of despair in Sullus. So after kind of Vika reveals this, I think there's just like a silence in the clearing. Like, okay, then. Well, I think there's a lot for us to kind of unpack, but right now we need to go rescue the council. And I think Vika says, follow me. So we head for the final showdown. Okay. So Well, I think I'm going to kind of keep it fairly straightforward. So I think we're going to head into the catacombs. So I'm going to use this. Yeah, hope you like that, Niels. So I think we're going to head into the catacombs, so into the darkness, and it's a race against time, I think, because we're going to be pursued by the don't want any of them. I think it's going to be pursued by the followers. And again, so as we enter in, we hear the kind of the shouts, and more followers, I think, emerge from within the catacombs. And I think we've got Meeker there, who's one of the guardians from the temple before. I think he turns to Omax and says, like, split up. And so I think Omax is going to take us with him, and we're going to head one direction down the tunnel. And the Meeker is going to take, along with some of the monks and the guardians from the temple, they're going to take another route. And I think, I think Vika kind of projects the kind of the map of this underground catacomb. And so they're able to kind of follow which way they need to go. So they're going to split up and try and divide the followers as they try to get there. So I think we're going to do a kind of, I think, start with a concerted effort to kind of like blast our way through. So our heroes kind of like summon up all of their Prisma, and kind of Omax is giving orders and directions and says, 1, 2, 3, blast. And so we all channel our energy out at the followers. Let me see how we get on. It's not enough. I think there's too many of them. So some of them fall to the ground, but there's just kind of waves of them coming at us. So I think he turns and says, look, we're not going to do this if it's a straight out kind of firefight between the two sides. And I think he looks to Jasan and go, Jasan, can you do your thing? And so I think Jasan is going to try, and they kind of nod and summon up all of their energy, and they just gather up all of the anger they're feeling about I think the anger at what the Spear has kind of brought to their land, and how it's impacted people, and he's channeling it all into, I think he's going to try and channel it into fear, actually, into Agla, who's kind of nervousness, and use it as a way of so instead of just attacking them, I think he kind of wants them to just give up. So I think he's going to try and channel that. Okay, so he succeeds. So I think in doing it, so in thinking about all of the kind of sadness and the pain and the suffering, and trying to kind of project that onto the followers, I think in doing it, Jasan is overcome as well, and kind of like collapses to the ground, and kind of Pian emerges, who carries hurt, to kind of comfort them. So I think Jasan is kind of out of the loop for now. So I think whilst the followers all kind of just stop, and this wave of fear and worry comes over them. No, actually, sorry, I'm going to do it the other way around. I think what's going to happen is by summoning Agla, Agla actually absorbs all of the fear and worry that is in a way driving the followers to despair, and kind of absorbs it back into themselves. But it is too much for Jisan, and Jisan kind of collapses as a result of it, because Jisan never seems to do things in halves. So I think the followers kind of wake up from. So it's their second action, I think. The followers wake up, from this daze, and they kind of realize what they've been doing, and they look at their, their kind of markings and say, "Let us help." And so they turn to lead the others down through the kind of into the catacombs, and I think that they start then kind of fighting with the other followers who are emerging on their way down, and manage to kind of beat them back. But as we get closer, I think we come to like a crossroads, and we join back up with the others, so with Meeker and the monks, and we're kind of arrive at the chamber where the council is being contained, when out of the nothingness, let's bring this over to here. So this not one, but I think there's a number of these kind of gaseous creatures just coalesce in I think behind us, and they start kind of running straight at us. So I think we have to. I'm going to do it differently, actually. So I think we're going to get in. So before I do that, just narratively, so I'm going to put this back here. So I think we get to the chamber, and we kind of using the information we have, the codes, we try, we basically open up the kind of get access to the chamber to rescue the council. Okay, we managed to do it. Yes, perfect. Okay, but as soon as that happens, as soon as we open the chamber, that's when these mist creatures, gaseous creatures, start to kind of form. And again, this time Meeker is like, "Run!" And he kind of pushes us with the council. So I think there's 4 other members here, because one of them had escaped, and is telling them to run and head for the exit. So Jisan, I think, is being carried by Vika now, just kind of like thrown over their shoulder. So just as a reminder, Jisan is here. Is being carried by Vika, who's like thumping along, and I think along the way, Demona is kind of leaping and bouncing along. And I think actually Eleanor has herbs from like the first episode. So I think if she's running, she kind of hands some of the herbs to, I think they're called lightning seeds. She gives one to, she actually gives one to Vika, because he'd been touched by despair, and also to, it says give one to Jisan as well. And so we'll see if that's able to kind of essentially help them to recover. Okay, so they both recover, but I think their Jasan is definitely kind of weakened as a result of that. So not back up to full speed. So I'll come back to your question, Niels, at the end, because it's a big part of the game's design, and I don't want to lose track of my story. So they're being chased by these kind of mist creatures, and I think they are I'm trying to think what we can do. So I'm looking at the various ability cards. So we've got the Prisma powers, expert in healing and herbs, Prisma staff. So I think they have to. I think they're going to have to just try and outrun. So I think I'm trying to think what they're trying to do, because they're kind of made of kind of mist. I think they need. I think Vika remembers. Vika says, "I've heard of these creatures. They are Zawari. So they are. I'm going to say they're creatures. Sorry, I'm just making stuff up. Creatures. So they're Zawari, and they're just mist. I could say they're mist creatures. And the only way to defeat them is to have them essentially condense in some form. So you like have them absorb something absorbent. So I think Eleanor says, get them outside quick. So I think they're going to race outside of the temple, and where there is well, I think I'm gonna say, so they race ahead, and I think they're gonna find, like, in some of the chambers there's sand on the floor, and I think they are going to try and, at least with one of them, get far enough ahead where they can kind of toss sand at it. So I think Vika, with their kind of big hands, is just going to kind of scoop some up and throw it at them. And the idea is that the mist will basically become absorbed by the sand. I don't know. Let's see if it tries. No. But I think we've kind of scared them a little bit because of this. That maybe maybe this isn't the exact weakness, but we've caught on to something about them. And I think while they pause, then I think just, I should have looked at it. I'm going to do the same way. So Jasan, I think, is going to kind of double over, and in this chamber there are in the catacombs, maybe there's some kind of lit. Let me see. I was going to say like there'd be a fire, but hang on. So this should be more of a kind of, yes, it's a catacomb, but I think it's more like an underground science lab type place. So So I think instead of like a fire, I think there's a canister of something that. So what would it be? Maybe compressed air or something. As they're kind of running through this area, she grabs a canister and just like opens a nozzle and kind of fires it at them. Thinking it's kind of like a fire extinguisher or something, but it fails. I think it fails to open. So she's kind of caught trying to untie it, and it's just not opening. And I think we're going to end the episode with these two Zawari closing in on our four heroes as they kind of back up against the wall. So that's it. I think that's the end of the episode. That one turned out quite interesting, actually. And we get to tie up the council, which is the loose thread that we had from the earlier stories. And we got to kind of maybe we got to learn a little bit about Vika as well. So as you're watching this, bear in mind, in my head, I'm thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and kind of She-Ra and Steven Universe, things like that. So not much kind of killing in it, but those kind of like tense moments that I'm trying to create in these episodes. So I'll just kind of actually, so park up there. I think I've recorded everything. I don't have any loose threads. Oh, well, actually, I think the thread is that there's definitely a thread, which I need to start a new list here. So the new thread is that I'm just going to switch to notes here. So the new thread is that the followers of despair are after Vika. And I think a thread is it's more like a note. So I'm going to put down maybe as an event. So Vika was created during the Age of Wonder. And actually, the thread might be Vika's kind of like the last of the Arcanobots. Okay, so I think that's everything. We do have our cliffhanger, which we'll remember, which is they gotta escape. So in terms of Niels, you're asking a question about moving dice across. Yeah, that was kind of one of, I think, the key breakthroughs we had when we were working on the game together. It was initially we didn't do that, and it was very easy for the stories to kind of spin out of control with constant new elements being introduced. And by allowing for dice to be brought forward from previous scenes allowed you to kind of reintroduce characters and tie up loose ends in the story as well. So instead of having the story end with lots of kind of loose threads, they could all be kind of woven in together as you moved forward. And it just made the experience so much better and so much more, I think, intuitive for players as well to see how that element worked. So yeah, that's kind of why we have that within the game. And I'm kind of planning, I need to do some artworking, but I want to introduce some tiles that we have been experimenting with, and I'm going to kind of play with them live on air to see how they work. And it would actually be perfect for the next episode, so I'll see if I can get them done in time for that. So just again, say thank you for everyone watching. If you liked it, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. All the previous episodes are available. We have a kind of playlist there. And please share it with other people if you've enjoyed it, and let them know, because it's always great. Whilst I'm happy to do this on my own, it's always great to know that people are watching as well, and to share that with, share this experience with people. So Niels is asking, is there an expansion for Untold? We have enough to make an expansion for Untold. It's just whether there's the audience for it, really, is kind of our question. So partly that's why I'm going to maybe introduce it as part of this series and see what the reaction is, and see maybe whether we can create it as some kind of project for people. We'll see. So it's kind of like a work in progress at the moment. So yeah, so that's it. Again, you can find us, bring up all my brand stuff, so banners. You can find me online as Rory O'Connor, whether that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think I'm Rory D. O'Connor. And you can find We Are Hub Games online as well. All of the different platforms, and you'll get notification about the upcoming episodes. I'll be back tomorrow a little bit later. I will be attending a kind of funeral service in the morning, but I should be back online by about 10:15, 10:30, so it's a slightly later start tomorrow. And it'll be back to normal then on Thursday after that. So and then tomorrow evening we will have our normal Hub Games hangout as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.